Okay, dear students, today we shall discuss the JEE Mains question paper conducted on 7 January 2020. It's a morning shift paper. This is a given question paper. Let us discuss the questions one by one. Let's see the 26th question. The number of orbitals associated with quantum numbers n equals to 5 and magnetic quantum number plus half is 26th one. So value of n is given as 5, orbit number is given as 5, and they are asking about the number of orbitals. So to calculate the number of orbitals in a given shell or orbit, the formula is equals to n square. So here it is equals to n means 5, so that it becomes 5 square equals to 25. So option 2 is correct. Let us see the question number 27. Given that the standard potentials E0 of Cu plus 2 by Cu and Cu plus by Cu are 0.34 volts and 0.522 volts respectively, the E0 of Cu plus 2 by Cu plus is. So here I will write down the first given information. The E0 values of Cu plus 2 by Cu was given as 0.34 volts. Similarly, E0 of Cu plus by Cu is given as 0.522 volts, but they are asking us to calculate E0 of Cu plus 2 by Cu plus is how much. So here we must remember one important thing regarding the extensive properties and intensive properties. Extensive and intensive properties. The main thing in extensive properties are these are additive. So we can add the extensive properties, at the same time we can subtract the extensive properties also. But in the case of intensive properties, we cannot add and we cannot subtract. So E0 values are intensive properties. So that is the reason why these values directly we cannot add, at the same time we cannot subtract. But E0 values somehow these are connected to the delta G0 value. Delta G0 value equals to minus NF E0. So these are correlated to the delta G0 values, and delta G0 value is an extensive property which can be added and can be subtracted. So first of all, let's try to write down the information regarding this particular 27th question. I will write this one in the equation form. Cu plus 2 needs 2 electrons, gives Cu. So delta G0 value for this first reaction is, we know that minus NF E0. N is the number of electrons used in this reaction, 2 electrons are used. So minus 2 F. E0 value for this reaction is already given, that is 0.34 volts. And similarly for the second given information is Cu plus electron gives Cu. Delta G0 2. Delta G0 value for the second reaction is minus, again only one electron is used, so 1 F. E0 value is provided here, that is 0.522 volts. And they are asking us to calculate this one, that is Cu plus 2 plus electron gives Cu plus. So delta G0 3 value has to be calculated. And we know that here Cu plus 2 in the second reaction, Cu plus is on the left hand side, but in the given equation it is on the right hand side. So you need to reverse this equation. In this sense, you have to subtract the delta G0 2 value in second equation from the first equation. Because in the first equation Cu plus 2 is on the left hand side, in the given target equation also it is on the left hand side. So we no need to change this one. But in the case of the second equation, Cu plus is on the left hand side, but here Cu plus is on the right hand side. So for this purpose, we need to reverse this equation. Reverse in this sense, it becomes minus value. So when you are adding this one, it becomes automatically, you are subtracting the delta G0 2 value from the delta G0 1. So when you subtract second one from the first one, we get the delta G0 3 value. So delta G0 3 is equals to delta G0 1 minus delta G naught 2. So delta G naught 3 value again minus NF E naught of this Cu plus 2 by Cu plus is equals to delta G naught 1 is minus 2F 0.34 volts minus of minus becomes plus. So it becomes now F 0.522 volts. So here anyhow here minus is there. Here only one electron is used here also. This N value becomes equals to 1. So in the place here I will write the only 1. So now this value has to be calculated. So we can write this equation final form as E naught of this particular value. You can send the F values get cancelled automatically, all these F values. So E naught value equals to this multiply. So it becomes now 0.68 minus 0.522, that equals to 0.158. This minus we send this side, so it becomes plus. Here it becomes minus, and F values cancel out. And when you multiply 2 with 0.34, we get the 0.68, and here it becomes plus now. So 0.68 minus 0.522, which gives 0.158 volts. This is the answer for this question. So 27th question, answer is 2. So let us solve the question number 28. In comparison to the zeolite process, for the removal of permanent hardness, the synthetic resins method is. So they are asking different one. Less efficient as it exchanges only anions, more efficient as it can exchange both cations as well as anions. So for this the answer is second. Why? Because it is more efficient. Why? Because it can exchange both cations as well as anions. It is just theoretical question. Let us see the question number 29. Match the following. Riboflavin, so some vitamins and the respective disease, deficiency disease of that vitamins were given. So here riboflavin causes the chiliosis. Similarly, thiamine causes the beriberi, and pyridoxine causes the convulsions. Ascorbic acid causes the scurvy. So 1C and 2A. 1C combination is here, 2A. So option 3 is correct. Let us see the question number 30. At 35 degrees centigrade, the vapor pressure of CS2 is 512 millimeters of Hg, and that of acetone is 344 millimeters of mercury. A solution of CS2 in acetone has a total vapor pressure of 600 millimeters of mercury. The false statement amongst the following is. So let's try to solve this question. 30. First of all, let's see the combination of CS2 plus acetone. So CS2 and acetone do not develop any type of the interactions. Even though if it develops any interactions, it will have only weak dipolar interactions. So due to the presence of the very weak dipolar interactions, these cannot be mixed each other properly, so that they show positive deviation from the Raoult's law. So when they are showing the positive deviation from the Raoult's law, their vapor pressure will be more. At the same time, their volume also will be more in comparison to the mixture. So here let us see what combinations they had provided. First one is Raoult's law is not obeyed by this system. Second one is a mixture of 100 ml, because they are asking the false statement. A mixture of 100 ml CS2 and 100 ml acetone has volume less than 200 millimeters. This is incorrect. Actually, if you take the 100 ml of the carbon disulfide and 100 ml of the acetone separately, when you mix them, the total volume mixture volume will be more than 200 ml. Hence, this is the false statement. So option 2 is the false statement. Let's see the question number 31. A solution of metachloroaniline metachlorophenol and metachlorobenzoic acid in ethyl acetate was extracted initially with a saturated solution of sodium bicarbonate to give fraction capital A. The leftover organic phase was extracted with the dilute NaOH solution to give fraction B. And I'll move this one this side. The final organic layer was labeled as fraction C. Fraction A, B and C contain respectively. So let us solve it here. Question number 31. So first of all, let us try to write down the given molecules here. The given molecule is metachlorobenzoic acid plus metachlorophenol plus metachloroaniline. So all these are present in a mixture. So when this is subjected with, when it is subjected with the aqueous NaOH, NaHCO3, we know one thing, that only COH part is soluble in NaHCO3, these remains insoluble. So soluble part and insoluble part. So here after dissolution into the NaHCO3, because COH carboxylic acid part only dissolves and forms its respective ion, it is soluble. So in the first fraction, the compound is metachlorosodium benzoate or else metachlorobenzoic acid is present, and insoluble contains these two parts. So I'll make them write once again here. Now this is subjected with the, these two combination is subject with the dilute NaOH. So when it is subject with the dilute NaOH, only because it is a weak acid phenolic part and this is the base, so they react with each other, so it is soluble and insoluble. Soluble is metachlorophenol, because sodium phenol it forms, and insoluble is metachloroaniline. So this is the B, this is the C. So they are asking A, B, C contain respectively. First one is metachlorobenzoic acid and the second one is metachloroaniline. This is incorrect. Metachlorobenzoic acid, metachlorophenol and metachloroaniline. So option 2 is correct. Let's solve the question number 32. What is the product of the following reaction? Hex 3-inol. So these are sequence of reactions they had given here. Let's try to write down the Hex 3-inol. You see here, this is the first carbon, second, third carbon, fourth carbon, fifth and sixth. So at third position, triple bond is there. So it is subjected with the NaBH4. So I had made a video based on the reagents of lithium aluminum hydride and sodium borohydride. So I will make it in the cards. You try to see that, watch that video properly. You will get the complete idea of the NaHCO3, NaBH4 and lithium aluminum hydride. So sodium borohydride is such a reagent which only reduces this particular aldehyde part, but unsaturation is unaffected. So we get alcohol. So this particular alcohol reacts with PBr3 and removing this OH part with the bromine part. And next it is subject with the magnesium diether. So this alkyl halide part which reacts with the magnesium in the presence of the dry ether gives the Grignard reagent. And this one on reaction with the dry ice, that means carbon dioxide. Carbon ion attacks here and eliminates like this. So we get the, now extra one carbon has come. Now this one on acidification, H3O plus is given here. So we get the molecule. So this is the molecule. So here given among the options, here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 carbon atoms. At a fourth carbon atom, triple bond is there. So these molecules are not having any triple bond. Only the fourth one is having triple bond. Option 4 is correct. Let's see the question number 33. Amongst the following statements, that which was not proposed by Dalton. So chemical reactions involve reorganization of atoms. These are neither created nor destroyed in a chemical reaction. It was proposed by the Dalton, but they are asking which was not proposed by Dalton. Second one is, all the atoms of a given element have identical properties including identical mass. Atoms of different elements differ in mass. This was also proposed by the Dalton. When gases combine or reproduced in a chemical reaction, they do so in a simple ratio by volume, provided all gases are at the same temperature and pressure. Actually, Dalton do not give any information regarding the gases, and combining of the gases volumes was given by the Gay-Lussac. So this point was not proposed by the Dalton. Let us see the last one also. Matter consists of indivisible atoms. So atom is an indivisible particle of the matter. That was also proposed by the Dalton. So except 3, remaining 3 are proposed by the Dalton. So option 3 is correct. Let's see the question number 34. The dipole moment of CCl4, CHCl3, CH4 are in the order. So let us see here. Dipole moment of CCl4 is equals to dipole moment of CH4 is equals to 0. The reason is they have the symmetrical structure. And a dipole moment of CHCl3 is not equals to 0. It has some positive value. So dipole moment of CHCl3 is more than both of these. Hence, dipole CHCl3 is equals to here CH4 equals to CCl4 is less than CHCl3, whose value is more. Hence, option 4 is correct. Let us see the question number 35. The IUPAC name of the complex. One complex is given here. I'll make to write the complex here. Platinum, NH3 taken twice, Cl, NH2CH3 and Cl. And the important thing to be noticed over here is, first of all, we have to calculate the oxidation state of the platinum. We know that ammonia is a neutral ligand and this is also zero neutral ligand, so they don't carry any charge. Chlorine carries -1 charge. This chloride carries -1 charge. So to neutralize these two minus charges, platinum has to exhibit +2 charge. That's why most of the answers they put the +2 charge, so that there is no doubt about the oxidation state of the platinum. And second thing to be noticed here is the name of the NH3 is amine, and this is chlorido. This is methylamine. Okay, and this is the counter ion, and in this particular one, first one is the cation and second one is the anion. So we need to give the name for the cation first, followed by the anion. And these ligands names also we have to mention in the alphabetical order. In that A, C, M, this is the same order it follows, and moreover here two amines are there. So we write here diamine, here next chlorido, methylamine, platinum, 2 chloride. So for this option 1 is correct. Diamine, chloridomethylamine, platinum 2 chloride. Let's see the question number 36. The purest form of commercial iron is, this is simply wrought iron, which is the purest form of the iron. So that is the conceptual theory question. Now let us see here 37th question. The electron gain enthalpy in kilojoules per mole of fluorine, chlorine, bromine and iodine respectively are given here. So we need to find out which values are correct. We know that fluorine, chlorine, bromine and iodine in the 17th group elements, the electron affinity of the chlorine is more than the fluorine, which is more than the bromine, which is more than the iodine. The electron affinity value increase from fluorine to chlorine and then decrease from chlorine to the iodine. So that chlorine has to possess highest value. So starting value here 349, 296, 325 increased, then also increased. So option A is incorrect. And here 349, 333. So here it is decreased, which is incorrect. 333, 349 increased and then decreased. So option 3 is correct for this 37th question. Next 38th question. One methyl ethylene oxide when treated with an excess of HBr produces. So first of all, let's try to write down the what is 1 methyl ethylene oxide. This is 1 methyl ethylene oxide. So it is subjected with the excess of HBr, they said. Excess of HBr. So let us take initially only 1 mole of HBr. We know that H plus and Br minus. This is protonated by the H plus ion. So we get protonated one. And now Br minus get the chance to attack. So now Br minus has chances to attack first this position and this position also. But if the Br minus attacks over here, it gives the means if there is a disconnection between these bonds, then we get the primary carbocation. But if this bond is broken, we get the secondary carbocation. So secondary carbocation is more stable one. So this attack will not happen and this attack will happen. So we get the molecule like this. Here OH, here Br. And next they said excess of HBr, so that you need to use 1 more mole of the HBr. So again protonation takes place over the alcohol, OH2, here Br is there, and next in the next step Br minus attacks from the back side. So there is a loss of the H2O molecule. So we get the 2 bromines on the adjacent carbon atoms. So option 2 is correct. Let's see the question number 39. The increasing order of pKb for the following compounds will be. So different compounds A, B, C is given here. So here B is a compound guanidine. Okay. So now let us try to see what is happening here. Conjugate acid of guanidine is resonance stabilized and have 2 resonance structures. It has the 2 resonance structures. It is stabilized by the resonance. Similarly, conjugate acid of A is also resonance stabilized and has only 1 resonance structure. And C do not exhibit any resonance structures. So that is the reason why the basic order, therefore, basic order is like Kb values is like B is greater than A is greater than C. But pKb values is exactly opposite to that. So B less than A less than C. So option 4 is correct. Let's see the question number 40. Oxidation number of potassium in K2O, K2O2 and KO2 respectively. So here we will write K2O, which is a normal oxide, and KO2, which is a superoxide, and K2O2, which is a peroxide. Now let's calculate their oxidation states. So here it is, let us take the oxidation state of the potassium. As we don't know, let us imagine. So there are 2 potassium, so that 2x. Since normal oxide, oxygen will have the -2 oxidation state, that value is equals to 0. So from this, x value is equals to +1. Similarly for the superoxide, in superoxides, O2 exhibits, oxygen exhibits -1/2, 2 together exhibits only -1. So there are only 1 potassium, x. From the oxygen it is only -1, that equals to 0. So x value is equals to +1. And in the normal peroxides, oxygen exhibits -1 oxidation state. So there are 2 oxygens. So 2 potassium -2 equals to 0 and x equals to +1. So here oxygen oxidation state, each oxygen is -1/2. In peroxides it is -1. In normal oxides it is -2 oxidation state. So in all these, the potassium exhibits the +1 oxidation state. Hence option 2 is correct. Let's see the question number 41. Consider the following reaction. So this is the reaction given. It is a diazonium salt with the this compound. I will write down those compounds. CH3, CH3. And whenever diazonium part is there, this diazonium part obviously undergo coupling reaction. Na plus. Here N2Cl. So this one in the presence of the base undergo coupling reaction and finally provides a molecule Na plus, and here it is NCH3 and CH3. So the molecule formed over here, it is methyl orange. So methyl orange is basically used in the acid base indicators. So for the 41 question, it is used in the acid base titrations as an indicator. Option 2 is correct. Next, let us see the 42 question. So in 42 question, the atomic radius of silver is closest to. So they had given some information here. Let us see 42. We know that there are 3D series elements, 4D series elements and 5D series elements in the D block. And here copper, silver, gold, all these belong to the same group. And after the 4D series, in 5D series here lanthanum will be there, and from lanthanum remaining elements shall have the same atomic radius because of the lanthanide contraction. So the atomic radius of 4D series elements is nearly equals to the 5D series elements. So that is the reason why both silver and gold will have the same atomic radius. Hence option 1 is correct. Now let us see 43 here. The theory that can completely or properly explain the nature of bonding in nickel tetracarbonyl is. So carbon monoxide has the ability to develop the back bonding. So the only theory that explains the structure and everything, nature of the bonding, is molecular orbital theory. So option 2 is correct. Now let us see the 44th question. So in this 44th question, which of these reactions will not produce ZF product? What is ZF product? More substituted alkenes. If more substituted alkenes are formed, that is called as ZF product. And less substituted alkenes, if they are formed, that is called as the Hofmann product. So Hofmann product is less substituted alkenes. So here let us take all these reactions one by one. So first one, option A. So in option A they had given CH3 which is connected to the another CH3. Means I am elaborating the structure here. CH3 and the CH, OH, CH3. This is the one that subject with the concentrated H2SO4, so H plus ion. So initially protonation takes place here and afterwards H2O molecule shall be removed. So I am making this one like this and here OH2 is formed. So water molecule shall be removed, eliminated, and next one is carbocation is formed. This is secondary carbocation which is a bit unstable, so that it immediately methyl shift takes place. So to get the more stable carbocation, which is a tertiary carbocation, and now there is a loss of H plus ion from here and we get the more substituted alkene as the major product in option A. So let us see the option B here. In option B, I will make the structure properly visible to you all. CH3, CH, Br and CH3. And to this, if you put the alcoholic AOH, alcoholic AOH is a dehydrohalogenating agent, takes the halogen from the beta carbon, that to form the most substituted beta carbon. See here, this is the carbon where only one carbon, all hydrogens are there, but this carbon is having the two carbons along with the hydrogen. So this hydrogen, I will write down this one like this. So this hydrogen shall be removed by the OH part. OH abstract this particular hydrogen and elimination takes place like this. So we get the most substituted alkene here also. And option C, let us go and see. Option C here. This is CH part is connected to the another CH part with again Br3. So same molecule they are using here, and here reactant molecule is same and base is different. Here they are using the potassium tertiary butoxide, which is a bulky reagent. Smaller reagents can easily remove the hydrogen from the crowded area carbon atom, though it is crowded by this one, it is hindered actually. So it can be removed by the smaller reagents, but larger reagents cannot dare to remove this particular hydrogen as it is completely covered by the methyl groups here and here also methyl group. So that's why this particular tertiary butoxide try to abstract the hydrogen from this particular carbon. Any of these hydrogen can be removed. So it attacks over this particular hydrogen and it shifts like this, and finally elimination takes place and we get the this one. This is not the, this is the most substituted alkene, this is not the most substituted, this is the least substituted alkene. So it is the Hofmann product. And similarly, let us see the last one, D. So in D, the molecule given is aldol. This is the aldol given. So when it is heated, obviously hydrogen from here is eliminated and finally H and OH together will be removed in the form of the H2O and we get this particular molecule. So here is a type of aldol, is aldol only. So here also we get the most substituted alkene, so it is a ZF product. So this is ZF product, this is ZF product and this one also ZF product. The only one that is not ZF product is this one, which is a Hofmann product. Hence, let us see, C is the only one that is not producing the ZF product. So option 3 is correct. Let us solve the question number 45. The relative strength of interionic oblique intermolecular forces in decreasing order is. So basically they had given dipole ion interactions. So two types of interactions are there. One is dipole, second one is ion interactions. So you must understand one thing, that whenever ion is there, it means that complete charge is present. Ion is nothing but complete charge. Dipole is always about the partial charge. So more the charge, more shall be the interaction or attraction. Since ions are having the complete charge, so that's why interaction between the two ions will be always more than the dipole and ion. Dipole and ion, and later dipole-dipole interactions. Since dipole is a only partial charge, less the charge, less will be the interaction. So for this 45th question, option 4 is right. Now let us see the 46th question. Chlorine reacts with hot and concentrated NaOH and produce compounds X and Y. So let's try to write down the reaction for this question first. We know that 3 moles of chlorine reacts with 6 moles of NaOH. This is hot and concentrated, and giving 5 moles of NaCl plus NaClO3 plus 3H2O. So it is providing two compounds X and Y. Imagine this is the X and this is the Y. Compound X gives white precipitate with silver nitrate. Since it is a chlorine, so anyhow I have already mentioned it is X. So it is reacting with the AgNO3 and can easily produce the AgCl, which is a white precipitate. So among these compounds, the one that is giving the white precipitate with AgNO3 is NaCl, that's why it is an X. And next one is silver nitrate solution. The average bond order between the chlorine and oxygen atoms in compound Y is. So here they are asking the average bond order in the compound Y. Compound Y is a NaClO3. So ClO3 basically having the shape like this, tetrahedral shape that I have mentioned like this. So Cl 3 oxygens, here Na plus. So here it is able, there are how many bonds? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bonds are there, and it is able to develop the 3 resonance structures. So if this bond is shifted here, here charge comes. If this bond shifts here, charge comes over here. So there are chances for the 3 resonance structures. So number of bonds by number of resonance structures gives the average bond order. So that is equals to 5 by 3 value is approximately is equals to 1.67. So here answer is 1.67. Now let us see here one more thing. 47. The number of chiral carbon atoms in a chlorophenol is. So I will write down the structure here for the 47th question. This is NO2, CH, CH, here OH part, and this is connected to the CH2OH, and this particular one is connected again to the NH, C double bond O, CH, Cl and Cl. And if you observe here, here one chiral carbon atom is there, here one chiral carbon atom is there. Chiral carbon means the carbon that is connected to the 4 different carbons and having the no symmetrical elements. So these two are the chiral carbon atoms. So there are 2 chiral carbon atoms. So for the 47 option, answer is 2. We shall solve the question number 48. During the nuclear explosion, one of the product is 90 strontium with a half-life of 6.93 years. If 1 microgram of the 90 strontium was absorbed in the bones of a newly born baby in place of calcium, how much time in years is required to reduce it by 90% if it is not lost metabolically? So this is directly from the NCERT question textbook. So T half value is given, that is 6.93 years. and initial concentration is 10 power minus 6 grams because 1 microgram they mentioned. So from this we can write T half equals to 0.693 by K. Why I am following the first order kinetics? Because the nuclear reactions follows the first order kinetics. So K equals to 0.693 by T half. That value equals to 0.693 by T half value 6.93. So this value is equals to 0.1. So in the first order kinetics we know that K equals to 2.303 by T into log A by A minus X. So now here T is equals to 2.303 by K into log A by A minus X. So let's try to substitute these values here. 2.303, K value is 0.1 into log, initial concentration is 10 power minus 6 grams divided by 90% of it has already gone. So it becomes 10 power minus 7. So this value becomes only 1. So from this we can get the 2.303 divided by 0.1, that equals to 23.03 years. So answer is 23.03 years. Now let's solve the question number 49. For the reaction A liquid to gases 2B molecules are given. So A to 2B, this is liquid and this is completely in gaseous state. So delta U value, delta S values are given. They are asking the delta G value. So I'll write the delta U value. Delta U value equals to 2.1 kilocalories given. Let's convert this one into the calories simply. So 2.1 into kilo means 10 power 3 calories. Similarly, delta N value is equals to 2 minus 0. So its value equals to 2. So we know that delta H equals to delta U plus delta nRT. So here it is equals delta U value 2.1 into 10 power 3 plus of 2 into 300 Kelvin's temperature is already mentioned. So this value, if you do the calculation, we get the 3300 calories. That is delta H. Now let us solve the delta G value. Delta G equals to delta H minus T delta S. So delta G equals to delta H value already we got, that is 3300 calories minus temperature 300 into delta S value directly given in the calories, so that into 20. So delta G value is equals to 3300 minus 6000. So this value becomes now minus 2700 calories. That means it is minus 2.7 kilocalories because they are asked in the kilocalories. So answer here is minus 2.7 kilocalories. Let us solve the question number 50. Two solutions A and B, each of 100 liters, was made by dissolving 4 grams of NaOH and 9.8 grams of H2SO4 in water. So these are the two different solutions. First solution is NaOH solution, second solution is H2SO4 solution. The pH of the resultant solution obtained by mixing 40 liters of the first solution with the 10 liters of the second solution is. So here two solutions are given. One is NaOH solution, second one is H2SO4 solution. Let's try to calculate the normality of both of these solutions, because while we calculating the pH, we need the help of the normality only. So normality of the NaOH is weight by equivalent weight into 1 by volume in liters. So weight of the NaOH is given as 4 grams. Its equivalent mass is 40 grams per mole, and it is 1 by 100 liters they said. So the value is 10 power minus 3 normality. For H2SO4, weight is 9.8 grams by equivalent mass 49 into 1 by 100 liters. So its normality is 2 into 10 power minus 3 N. Now from the first solution, what is the volume they have taken? 40 liters of the first solution they said. And from the second solution they have taken only 10 liters. So these they are mixing. So in such cases we need to find out number of equivalents of first solution and second solution. So let's multiply the normality with its volume. We get the number of equivalents. Number of equivalents of the first solution is 10 power minus 3 into 40. So value equals to 4 into 10 power minus 2. and second number of equivalents is 2 into 10 power minus 3, its normality into volume is 10 liters, so it is equals 2 into 10 power minus 2. So number of equivalents of the first solution NaOH is more than the number of equivalents of H2SO4. So more the number of equivalents, the compound with more number of equivalents and the resultant solution will have the same nature. Since N1 V1 value is more than the N2 V2 value, then resultant solution has the basic nature, because we know that 1 gram equivalent weight of one compound combines with 1 gram equivalent weight of the another compound. I had made a complete video on the equivalent mass. You can please check it. I will give the description link in the description box. Now let's try to find out the concentration of the OH minus N. Why? Because after mixing we get the only OH minus N. So higher value we shall take the first, lower value we shall take the later. So concentration of the OH minus N equals to N1 V1 minus N2 V2 divided by total volume V1 plus V2. So here concentration of OH minus N equals to N1 V1 value we have already found here, N2 V2 value substitute, total volume 40 plus 10 equals to 50 liters. So by doing so we get the 2 pi 3 into 10 power minus 3. Then substitute the concentration of OH minus in this formula. POH equals to minus log concentration of OH minus. So POH equals to concentration of OH minus value is this one. So by substituting, so we get the 3.397 is the POH. We know that pH plus POH equals to 14. So pH equals to 14 minus POH. POH value substituted here, that is 14 minus 3.397. So we get the 10.603. So this is the answer for this question, that is 10.603. Dear students, hope you understand. If you understand, please subscribe the channel. Thank you.